and I don't know who this is. I can't wait. I've been excited for this meeting for so long. My heart is beating so fast. I simply wait. Where am I? Where I am, when this is, or who I'm waiting for are entirely unknown to me. There are so many details missing, yet all I care for is the anticipation building at this meeting with someone. I was told to sit still, but my nerves have my legs swinging back and forth. This is, in all likelihood, a dream, and I think I've become someone else. Here, I'm a young boy, based on my clothes. He's from a well-to-do family. Oh! I, or rather the boy, yell out, and then, upon realizing this is a place that requires silence, he brings a hand to his mouth. Upon seeing his reaction, the person the boy is waiting for looks on with a smile. Morning already. I wake up feeling incredibly refreshed, as if I enjoyed a relaxing dream. This dream-like joy is only a fleeting thing. I rarely have mornings like this anymore. Good morning, Maya. Why is she all glowy? I guess it's her ghost. This is a ghost story now. Alright, guess I'll get dressed. Garudas love things to be clean. They despise when dust attaches itself to their feathers, and flap their wings to force doors and windows open when the air gets stale. Yeah, it's a ghost story. As only those accepted by each Garuda can enter their room as an aviary, cleaning is one of the most important jobs for a night in the wings of Garuda. As I'm quickly sweeping up the floor, the veterinarian follows me close behind. Really dig back into those memories of yours. Are you sure nothing happened? Nothing happened. Not so sure about that. You're a careless sort, so I wouldn't be surprised if you missed something. I'm careless, am I? There's still dust over there in the corner. The walls are also in a starry state. It's in chores like this that you get a glimpse of someone's personality. There was nothing weird about Huma prior to her laying her egg. I was away for a while because of the Membrum incident. The knights that looked after her in the meantime told me everything was normal. If anything, the most curious person here is me, desperate to know why her feathers turned red. Uma remains mostly still as she warms her egg. Though you'd normally think a lack of movement would lead to increased stress, her crimson feathers shine with a brilliant luster. It's not as if there aren't records of birds with changing plumage. Take ptarmigans, who live in colder regions. They have brown plumage in summer and pure white in winter. Why do their feathers change colors? To blend in with the snow around them and make it harder for predators to spot them. There are also a number of species whose feathers change as they mature. This process is referred to as molting. As a bird molts, some or all of its feathers are replaced with new ones. The Huma did not molt. Her feathers changed colors instantly, without a single feather being shed. I've never heard of a bird species undergoing so drastic a change. Some, but not all, of what the vet says makes sense to me. It seems logical, for example, to compare Garudas to other birds. But doesn't it make more sense to go through previous birthing records first? When I asked the veterinarian this, though, he looked at me reproachfully. I see you don't even grasp the basics. Garudas are the goddess's divine envoys. The right of their biology is tantamount to intruding on the realm of the divine. His answer reflects something to the Grand Commander once mentioned to himself. What are the wings even doing if they haven't taught you this very obvious fact? No, I have heard this before, but I ask because I don't find it to be right. Records and research are needed to keep them alive, are they not? I want to hear your answer, as a veterinarian. There is much we don't know about Garudas. Take the recognition of their caretakers. Why do they only acknowledge those in the wings? Even I cannot see them without a knight present. And despite the lack of obvious communication between Garudas, once one accepts a knight into their presence, they all do. And nothing if not curious. But Garudas and their mysteries are a forbidden topic in academia. Should you go against the rule, you'll find yourself in jail for life. There. Now you have my answer. Well, I don't know what's going on with these birds. Oh, these burbs. Many of the knight's members have gathered for training again today. They're all smiles as they put all into their drills. The reason for this? Marquess Bailey has sent a token of congratulation for the birth of a new Garuda. Again? How many does that make today? That's the 4th gift today, and this one's from a Marquess. I still can't believe the wings are getting this much attention. So I passed by this royal guardsman the other day. The guy sneered at me. They're always making fun of us in our order, so they can't be too happy with this situation. Where should I take everything? Hold on, Hugo. Guide them down to storage. Yes, sir. Already getting this much from the egg, I can only imagine they'll organize a full festival for when it finally hatches. Planning to make Prince of Huma and her chick? Not even I would try to use the divine birds as a business opportunity. I really get it now. Get what? Just how amazing Garudas are. They're far more than a symbol of the royal family's power. We're all hurt after losing Prince Lucian the way he did. Those who saw hope in him even began despairing for the future. But this news of a baby Garuda has brought life back to the city. Prince Conrad's actions are to thank for most of this. His proclamation that this Garuda is Prince Lucian reborn has soothed the guilt everyone felt at his death. We can't thank Prince Conrad enough. Oh God, no. I hate that guy. It's all but officially confirmed Conrad will be our next king. Though everything looks rosy on the surface, I can only imagine how many are suffering behind the scenes. Must turn back time and save Prince Lucian. But not yet. Now is not that time. I have to find a way to defeat this witch first. If I go in unprepared, I'll only be repeating the same events. By the way, is Landon absent again today? Seems so. Grand Commander Crius told me he's taken off because he's not feeling well. You think we could check up on him? Of course we can. I was just discussing that with you. Believe it or not, we wanted to go together on our next day off. Do you mind if I join you? Not at all. Aw, look at this. Never took you for a timid one. It's all I can do to brush it off with a smile, knowing how Landon felt for Maya. Well, it works in both ways. I shirk back at how he must think of me now. But I'll ask the Grand Commander to match our next holiday. I'll let you know how it goes. Oh, since when were you close enough that you could ask for something like that? He apparently intends to give me a bonus for what happened with Huma. I was thinking I could ask for a break instead. You are the absolute antithesis of greed. You probably hate that as a merchant's son. What? That works. I'm not about to take your money for so simple a reason. I'll give you a day off without taking anything in return. Thank you, sir. I've been worried about Landon. I'm glad you planned to go see him. That being said, never mind. It's nothing. Let me know how he is, alright? So I'll be giving you that bonus as planned. But like I mentioned before, I'd like to thank you personally as well. I did nothing worth such gratitude. I simply did my job. Hey now, you've done more than your job. Don't forget what this means for medicine. With the medicine made from Huma's feathers, we can help a lot more people like me. Happy to hear that. Have you already recovered? Sure have. Not a problem to be had. He gives me a vigorous grin. Piles of paper on his desk are any indication, recovery has turned him into even more of a workaholic. Still, I'm surprised you got permission to use Huma's feathers. I thought for sure the royal family would hate that kind of thing. There are certain circumstances motivating that decision, I suppose. Did you prepare for this possibility in advance? His answer is a vague smile. I apparently hit the mark. I shouldn't be, but I'm always so surprised at how efficient you are. I'm pretty good at working behind the scenes. My father once told me this aptitude befitted my status as a noble, but as a knight, it lacks a kind of candidness. Oh boy. I don't know what to do. Should we save? We saved just a few minutes ago. ... I think. Couldn't think of anything to say to him. The Grand Commander gazes off into the distance. You'll never change. Okay, we're going back. No. Cassie would want me to do this. She would want me to do this. All right. No. That is not true at all. That is not true at all. Honest, earnest knights do tend to be more loved, yes, but your personal evaluation is far less important than what you accomplished as a knight. When faced with an obstacle, all I can do is face it head on. So I'm grateful that you're able to search for a solution by going around the obstacle instead. I got him to blush. Yes! I'm doing it in her honor. She's gonna watch this later on anyways. You've proven once again that you are a natural flirt. What? I didn't try to flirt. I was just being honest. Oh, not at all. I can often be insensitive and drive people to anger. I think I'd have more enemies than friends. More nefarious conversations do tend to go over your head, I suppose. There's something in you that just draws people to them. As proof of that, Let's put an end to that train of thought. That would probably fly over your head, too. Oh yeah, it totally would. Anyway, I'd like to thank you personally. I'm not so shameless as to not return the hope you've given me. You don't seem the type that would want a dress or some jewelry. Physical gift of goods or money won't make you happy. I think I can guess what you want. I'm sure he can. Right now, I only want one thing. He never did explain himself. Let's go on a date. Hey, you don't have to look so obviously disappointed. It hurts, you know. Sorry about that. I just wasn't expecting that invitation. No? Guess I'm just not a part of your world after all. What? Uh-oh. And Commander, you're not interested in me at all, are you? I used to find that so vexing, but now it's liberating. Of course I'm interested in the Grand Commander, but as I open my mouth to argue that, something else occurs to me. I spent my life focused entirely on my revenge and on the witch. In other words, I've had my head full of my own problems. Never truly seen Crius Castle Rock the man. He's only ever been my superior or the Grand Commander. And I do have to say, this is very problematic. He is her superior. This shouldn't be happening. I think some rules and regulations are being broken right now. He has strong brows, a slender nose, full lips, and a gaze that grips at a woman's heart. He's tall with a perfect build. A picture of the ideal knight. But that's not who he is. You can't understand anyone on appearance alone. What has made him so proficient with scheming? What relationship does he have with noblewomen like my stepmother? Why did the former Grand Commander feel he was deceived? Well, I'm glad she's asking the important questions, right? Because, like, seriously, I would be wanting to know all that stuff, too, before we start locking lips. Ruslan. The Grand Commander closes his eyes as if turning away from something he'd rather not see. In that simple moment, I get a glimpse at the darkness nestled within his heart. I'll have to turn back time again. I need to save Prince Lucian and Maya. That thought sits as strong in me as ever. But what I expressed verbally couldn't be any more different. I want to know more about you. No, you know what? It's not always about the lewd with me, okay? It's not. BB10. Okay, I do like the kissing, but if we gotta get some good story and some good like conflict going on before the kissing part happens, then I'm all for it because it makes the kissing better. Let's have a good romance. Let's just not have random people lock lips, because I mean, if we just want random characters doing random things, then I just play Fire Emblem Engage, right? So a noise sounds from outside the room. Though the Grand Commander immediately opens the door to see what happened, there's not a person in sight. Sure, something just fell. Don't worry about it. I'll come see you on your next day off. Just wait for me at home. Uh-huh. I'm not lying. Well, it doesn't. But the problem is the fact that the story, Engage's story being bad isn't a fault of not enough kissing. It's a fault because the game is actually, the story is horrible. No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. Three Houses still got number one Fire Emblem for me. Mostly because of all the characters. Okay. It's been a while. How have you been? Good. And how have you been faring? I dream of a boy who waits for someone important to him. I realize faintly that this is the second time I've had such a dream. The boy smiles with such unbridled joy. The boy, probably no older than 10 years old, has chestnut brown hair and large, unusually intelligent eyes. It's only then that I realize my perspective has changed from the last dream. I can actually see the boy this time. I must be viewing the stream from his sister's point of view. Her memories start to fill in the gaps. Her name is Isabella, and she's 12 years old. She lives and works here in the church as a newly appointed nun. You don't have to force yourself to speak like a noble young master in front of me. Oh, it's a young girl. How have you been, Isabella? Oh, great, of course. Oh, did you bring something for me? Yeah, I brought cookies. I made a bunch, so I hope you like them. Thank you. I love the sweets you make. When the girl reaches for the pouch of cookies, she notices what looks to be a burn mark on the boy's wrist. What happened? You're hurt. Huh? Oh, I burned myself a bit while making the cookies. It's totally fine, though. I mean, I don't... Oh, there you go again. Aren't I always saying you need to treat your wounds? We don't want these scars to ruin how handsome you are. I'm betting this kid is baby Crius. It's baby Crius, for sure. You are graced with these adorable looks of yours, so you need to take better care of your body. If you don't, you'll only suffer for it as an adult. Sorry. So worried about him. He has a habit of hiding his wounds. I wish I could just be at his side. I wanted to remain his big sister. What are all these flashbacks? Uh-oh. Oh, noes. Oh, boy. Oh, goddess. Why must I be killed like this? Why must I be killed? Wait, what did... What? Who? Why did... Redacted do this to me? Oh, no. Is this what we're working up towards? Oh, no. Once joyous dream ends as a bloody tragedy. A nun, the young boy's sister, is murdered. This isn't any normal dream. Did the witch show this to me? Either him or Rune, but unfortunately I'd need to die to ask Rune about it. I know all too well that treating death too lightly can lead to pure madness. I've heard that dreams can predict the future. Is that dream a scene of what's to come? I meant to save that boy and his sister. Isabella said the culprit's last name in her final moments, but I can't remember. Damn, why can't I remember? I think it over for some time, but the name never comes to me. Since Isabella is a nun, she must be at the church. I hope I can find the time to go look for her. I glance at the clock and am immediately surprised to see it's already 10 o'clock. I slept in quite a bit, which means the Grand Commander will be here any moment. Oh, we getting a date? I think we're getting a date. Let's hope this is sufficiently uncomfortable. I've been worried about this date since his playful invitation. If I'm to take him at face value, then I need to wear the proper attire. Fortunately, all I have are my night clothes and a few pairs of casual wear. Said casual wear is so plain that I'd be better off wearing my usual knight's uniform. I ended up choosing to wear my usual outfit, but I wonder if I shouldn't have tried to buy something more suitable. Even if I had, though, it's not like I could so easily acclimate to wearing a dress. Conventions say long hair befits a young lady, and dresses are designed around this idea. I doubt I'd find a dress that suits my short hair. He's probably joking anyway, so I don't need to worry so much over it. He has his pick of young women, and if he wanted to date a conventional beauty, he wouldn't have picked me. Okay, but here's the thing. I'm suspicious. He still hasn't told me what he was doing with my stepmom. And that woman wants me dead. So, I don't know if this is all playing into whatever she has planned for me. How odd. I felt almost annoyed just now. Coming. Good morning, Grand Commander. He's dressed as normal. Thank goodness I didn't take his joke seriously. Good morning. Today, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend time with me today. I immediately salute. He does not look impressed. There's something I'd like you to promise me, Rislin. I want you to forget I'm your superior for today. Oh boy. Huh? If you were honest and wanting to learn more about me, then please. I want to see who he really is underneath it all. Changing how I refer to him may be the first step I need to take. So, what should I call you today? Sir Castlerock? Just my first name, I think. What? The Grand Commander's hand softly brushes by my hair. My questions about why are answered when I spot an unruly hair, still mussed from sleep, in the mirror. Sorry. I prefer you at your most natural. But we've got to think of those young ladies crushing on the Rose Knight. All right? All fixed. The corners of his mouth curl up into a small smile as he kneels in front of me. Oh my gosh, this is getting weird. Would you do me the honor of sharing your time with me today, Lady Rislin? Are you bristling, BB10? I hope you're bristling, because this is gonna be fun. You're bristling with excitement. Look over there. It's Sir Crius of the Wings of Garuda. Oh, it's a chick. Look over there! It's Sir Crius of the Wings of Garuda! And the Rose Knight is with him. They look like they came right out of a painting. I've gotten used to the attention, but it's magnified threefold when alongside the Grand Commander. Something familiar happened before during Historica Foundation Day. A Garuda flight show is held for the king every year. The 18 Garudas take to the sky with Knights of the Wings on their backs, and a grand and impressive display. People come from all over the world to witness the spectacle. In times of celebration, those with nefarious goals can more easily blend in. An anti-monarchist faction tried to assassinate the king, but failed because the Grand Commander found them out. He used 8 Garudas to protect the king and directed the remaining 10 to drive the faction away. If this feat was all there was, he may have simply been extolled as a hero. The reason he gained so many fans, so many prints, was because of where he was. The Grand Commander gave his orders from the castle's 3rd floor balcony. The king usually addresses the masses from this balcony, and normally no one else would be allowed to stand there. But the Grand Commander all but forced himself onto the balcony to lead the Garudas. An already very charming knight has just stood on the grandest stage and acted without restraint. It's the perfect recipe for popularity. Some theorize that his actions were not more than a performance to gain popularity, but these are likely rumors born of jealousy. Besides, it's not like he needs to do anything special to stand out. He can just stand there and grab your attention. His unwavering gaze, his posture as sharp as an unused sword. He's a statue, firm and unyielding. I've known him for 8 years, yet I've never once found what I could call a flaw. What if this was just an act, and the essence of his character lies somewhere else? He is an extraordinary man. We must burn this image into our eyelids! We won't be getting prints of these two anymore. It's such a shame that they've halted the sale of those prints. Huh? Miser Mitchell decided to stop selling prints, did he? Did you just hear that, sir? Did you warn Mitchell about selling his prints? Nope, not at all. He did all that on my orders, you see. What? Care to say that again? Running the rings involves a lot of empty coffers. I got popular after that whole anti-monarchist business. So I didn't want to let that opportunity go to waste. But with all the donations we're getting from nobility now, I told Mitchell he didn't need to sell them anymore. Of course he was behind it, of course. Maybe he really did stand up on that balcony to get popular. We've got fresh clows here! How about a taste? You hear that, Miss Lynn? Want to try a clow? Wow, what's that? It's a type of sweetbread. It's as soft as a cloud, so that's how it's got its name. He had that answer ready for me. I wonder if he has a sweet tooth, too. You like sweet stuff, right? The Grand Commander buys one clow and hands it over to me. Thank you. The clow is about as big as my palm and doesn't... I'm thinking it's supposed to be claw, maybe like a bear claw. I don't know. The clow is about as big as my palm and doesn't look any different than a bread roll. The white color reminds me of a pile of lightly packed snow. The scent, meanwhile, is as sweet as a cake. Chomp. So good. The soft, mellow sweetness feels exactly like a cloud as it melts in my mouth. The lack of any real sensation as I bite into it heightens the taste. The Grand Commander crinkles his eyes as he looks down at me. Watching you enjoy that so thoroughly reminds me of my sister. She sure loves to eat. His sister's a nun. Yep. Flashes from my dream this morning come to mind. The possibility these two things could be connected leads me to ask my next question. I didn't know you had older sisters. What do they do now? The oldest and third oldest have gotten married and live with their husbands. The second oldest brought her husband into our house. Wait, bought or brought? The second oldest brought her husband into our home and are running things now. You have 3 older sisters? Sure do. I'm the only boy, so I had a time of it when I was younger. The Grand Commander seems entirely uninvolved with the dream, based on his tone. Well, and I don't believe that. Isabella said the boy spoke like a noble young master, so I doubt they're from a noble family. There did seem to be some complicated circumstances involved, though. Don't you want to try one, Grand Commander? Grand Commander? Oh, first let's talk about your outfit. I invited you out on a date, so why wear your usual uniform? But you're wearing just the same outfit as always, too. Me? This is all I have. Yeah, right. Every single knight in the wings knows that the Grand Commander is incredibly stylish. Still, I'm at fault for being so sudden about it. You probably didn't have the time to prepare. I guess I'll just have to pick out one for you. What? How may I help you today? I'm looking for a dress for her. Can you show me what you have in stock? Of course, sir. Oh, would you be the Rose Knight? The Rose Knight herself wants a dress. Please, sir, I could never make a dress work. Not with my short hair and muscles. I'd like a more refined design. Nothing too showy. Something longer, too. Hey, Matt Nui. Well, thank you for shopping with us. That was a pretty productive shopping trip. I'm sorry it took so long, though. You must be exhausted. Just couldn't pick one. They all look so good on you. Why do the characters in these games always do that? They're like, yeah, I'm gonna get you one dress, and they buy the whole shop. Rislin? Oh, is that Sir Crius? How handsome! But, who's that girl next to him? Look at that red hair. Could that be... Grand Commander? Let's go somewhere else. Huh? Sure. Is that a mistletoe? I think that those are crystal mistletoes, BB10. Look! Crystal mistletoes! This is the first time I've ever had to run in heels. Muscles I've never used before in my life are suddenly thrown into overdrive. I can barely catch my breath. Is the dress not to your liking? Oh. Because it's fun. No, I do like it. I'm incredibly grateful. I've chosen something incredibly beautiful and even paid for it. I'm just not used to it, is all. I'm sure people will laugh at me for it. I didn't think you'd worry so much about others. I hate when people ridicule me, so much so I can barely breathe. And let me tell you just one thing. You are more beautiful than anyone. Not a single person would ever ridicule you. What? Okay, so... Mario can't help it. Why isn't Cassie here? It's not Lou. He didn't do anything. Okay. You work harder than anyone and are more resourceful than most. Yet you value yourself so little. It certainly makes me want to protect you. But I wish you were more confident in yourself. My heart thumps. Who does this voice belong to exactly? This is not the Grand Commander I've shared 8 years with. This is the voice of a charming seducer. I bet he is. Or maybe he's not. I don't know. What's made you say all that all of a sudden? It's so odd. It's not like you ever cared much for my appearance before. If it bothers you, I'll not say it again. It doesn't really bother me. It just all happened so quickly. I'm just confused. I'm pretty surprised myself. I never realized I had these feelings inside me. I spent the last 8 years being constantly surprised by you. Since you mentioned becoming a nun if we didn't let you in, I thought it better to make you a knight than give you over to the church, but I was originally going to send you home after a while. I thought it'd be too tough for a woman. We've got good guys in the wings, but there's still prejudice. You're stubborn and not the most articulate, so I wasn't sure you'd fit in. At some point, you became part of their group. You didn't try to use some womanly charm or garner their sympathies. I was impressed, honestly. It wasn't always peaceful. I had people accusing me of doing this as a romp, and I was teased plenty times. You were always there to help me in those times, sir. That was never the goal. If you came crying to me, I'd pounce on it as a reason to send you back home. But you never once tried to rely on me. I thought you were strong. That impression only grew when you won at the War Games, but I was forced to rethink those assumptions when I saw you cry after Maya's death. You aren't strong. You tried to remain strong. Okay, here's the deal. Did he just say I'm not strong because I was crying after seeing my best friend in the entire world? Her body and limbs just strewn about my room like ornamentation? You're like, Chudah, let out your rage. Yes, unfortunately being made fun of is part of existing. But sometimes if you can just get past those fears, it gets better. Like me and my voice acting. And I just want to tell you guys this. I enjoy it so much, and I remember when I first started doing it and doing different voices, I was so afraid people were going to make fun of me and be like, you're the worst ever. And honestly, I have people asking me to do it more because I try and I put a lot of heart into it. So, especially when I cry. When I do my crying. Oh, that's always fun. Anyways. That trial would bring any man to their knees. And you won that too. Strong is too simple a word to encapsulate that. And when I see this about you, oh boy. I respect you. From the bottom of my heart. There's an anguish in his words then. What expression is he wearing as he looks at me? If I could just turn around, I could find out for myself. Unfortunately, his arm won't allow me to do so. I can't help but feel he's pushing me away from him, and it hurts. Well, it's like a reverse Kabaidan. You don't see that very often. Our date ends here. Let's get to what you want to talk about. I'm not exactly sure where to start, though. Let's start with my contact with the Linzel family. I'm sure that's what you're most curious about, yeah? I nod. As you've likely guessed, I despise that woman. You're free to associate with whoever you please, but you can't stop my curiosity. I first met with Lady Evelina 3 years ago. I found out she suffers from the same illness I do. What? She's sick? I never knew. Mine came when I was older, but she was apparently born with it. She was told from a young age to hide it from others. Shocked, the royal family allowed the use of Garuda feathers, remember? This is why they approved it. How could the king not allow it when his own sister was suffering? I actually had more trouble getting Lady Evelina to admit she was sick. She's a terrifying one. Makes you stand pin straight when she looks at you. This is the first I ever heard of her illness. I doubt anyone at the manor knows. But just how did you find out? I've got a friend that'll do just about anything for me, remember? I'm pretty sure his name is Zen, though. I immediately remember Inquisitor Lister. If he got this information, then he's more amazing than I already thought. Not just anyone can dig down into the royal family secrets. I don't think it was Lister, though. For this illness you and she share, what are the symptoms? An inability to feel pain. Our senses of smell and taste are also gone. We could also lose our perception of color at later stages. You didn't notice, then. I must be a pretty good actor. I may be able to make it on stage, even if I have to quit the wings. Wait, so he can't feel pain? Okay. But then why is he, like, grimacing in pain and stuff? The Grand Commander laughs jokingly, and that smile now feels like a thorn in my chest. When you lose your senses, you start to lose your heart, too. I lived without any real convictions and just let myself be dragged along. It was the picture of nihility. I don't mean to excuse Lady Evelina's actions. After seeing what happened with Lady Orla, I can only imagine what you went through. It's clear who the victim is here. But I think she would have been a very different person if she didn't have to deal with this illness. I only say that because I get it, to a degree. She'd want to know what pain truly was, even if it meant using it on someone else. I'm gonna take a shot at what the Grand Commander Kyle likely told you. I'm having an affair with Lady Evelina and bribing her for money or something, right? Right. I see. Hugo apparently ran into him and got told the exact same thing. He said that he was chased out of the wings by you, sir. And that would be correct. He was embezzling the Order's funds. He sent in an anonymous report to top brass and had him expelled. In hindsight, I realized keeping that a secret wasn't the best decision. I just didn't want to tarnish the Wing's name. Though I'd wanted to know about Grand Commander Kyle as well, it's hard to listen with a level head. The swirl of anger and grief is new to me. I don't know what to do. My stepmother's actions began with her illness. Orla and I never did anything to her. She tried to ignore her own feelings by taking her problems out on her own daughters. And I still don't feel bad for her. I don't. I'm still gonna murder her. I'm enraged at her selfish, thoughtless actions, but I'm also deeply saddened when I think of what the Grand Commander has suffered through. He puts on a mask of perfection to keep people at an arm's length, so they won't find out he's sick. It's also doubtless because he doesn't want these people to worry about him. Don't you be pushed. You know what? Don't start. He kept people away from him for their sakes. My heart feels like it could split right in two when I think how he must have lived until this moment. Wait, so if he could not feel anything, then why is he sleeping around? I know. Then how is he running around sleeping with all these different women? I mean, I don't know. Something's not adding up. I don't know if I believe this. I entirely believe this story. Anger and sorrow. Which of these feelings is stronger? Shit. Time to save. We're saving. Are you crying? Why? Is this news about Lady Evelina such a shock? It's not that. It has nothing to do with her. Can't tell him these tears are for him. Anything I say now would sound shallow and be far from a comfort for him. So I let those words die in my throat as the tears continue to flow freely. Yes, that was the right one! Okay, so I don't have to go back. Ruslan, there's one more place I'd like to take you to. Will you come with me? Of course. He takes me to a church in the outskirts of the city. Stained glass windows make up the walls of the domed building. The ethereal light dancing around me feels like something out of a dream. With the weather as nice as it was today, the stained glass looks even more beautiful. This is the perfect place to rest, emotionally and physically. Yeah. Is that why you brought me here? Well, I brought you here to ask you to marry me. What? Just kidding. There's someone I wanted to introduce you to. But unfortunately, she doesn't seem to be around. Thank you. He grimaces a bit before closing his eyes in prayer once more. I take a few steps away from him, thinking I should give him this time alone. Once I do, though, I run into someone I never would have expected. Ruslan, is that you? It's Hugo. Hugo? Did you come here to pray as well? Jeez, the least you could do is remember where your friend lives. Yeah, your father was a cardinal, huh? Of course! I needed to, really sell my astonishment. I need to sell my shock. I even do some... No, there's no alcohols in this. Less than 0.5% alcohol. So not even enough. There's less alcohols in this than NyQuil. Oh, stop it. Okay. There are seven cardinals of the Nornan faith. These seven helm an organization that oversees various regional churches in the inquisitorial order. You can at least sound more apologetic. Anyway, what are you doing here? You look... Don't even say it. Huh? Why not? It's nothing bad. It really suits. Please, don't say it. And don't tell Mitchell or Landon about this either. Alright, mum's the word. The other knights would doubtless tease me were they to see me in this dress. I'm glad if I had to meet any of them with someone as tight-lipped as Hugo. I might be able to ask Hugo about my dream. Hugo, do you know a nun by the name of Isabella? Huh? She's got chestnut brown hair and has a younger brother. Oh no. Is he crying? Why do you know that name? Do you know her? Where is she? She died years ago. Oh, that's a shame. My dream, then, was of an event of the past. No! It's Hugo's sister! No, I'm sad. No! My dream, then, was of an event of the past. I have proof now that it's far more than a dream, but knowing I can do nothing is disappointing. So she's already been killed, then. Killed? I remember her final words. Isabella was killed by... I clamped my mouth shut. Don't just leave me hanging. It's creepy. Sorry, it's nothing. I can't just come out and say a cardinal killed her. But there were 7 of them. Can't just assume Hugo's father is the culprit. Hey, where did you hear about this from? I doubt you just started looking into this. Those doubts are correct. But if I were to answer him honestly, I could very well be tried as a witch. What's wrong? Oh, there, Hugo. Didn't realize you were here, too. Oh, Hugo? Is he all right? He looked pale as a sheet. I give a brief rundown of what happened with Hugo. Oh, I see. That explains it. You do well not to dig too deep into that incident, for your and Hugo's sakes. But I am curious to know where you got your info from. Why do you know about such an old incident? What would you do if I told you I saw it in a dream? Oh boy. You're an odd one, that's for sure. It's the kind of joke that could get you locked away. Sorry, sir. Well, I wouldn't worry about it. It's all in the past. Thanks for spending the day with me, and sorry for forcing all this on you. You don't need to apologize. Thank you for the dress, and, well, you always felt so out of reach, so thank you for letting me in today. Yeah? I feel like the load's been lifted, too. The following days are peaceful ones. The fear surrounding the witch trial and the celebrations over a new Garuda's birth have all died down as people return to their normal lives. Things have also calmed down around the wings, but only on the surface. Landon has yet to come back, and though he tried to visit him, we weren't even let inside the door. What the heck is going on? Something is off about Hugo as well. We haven't talked in days. I can't help but feel he's ignoring me. More and more days pass. Nothing ever changes. After a hard day of work, I drag my worn body home. But I know that, unfortunately, I don't have anything worth eating in the cupboards. Would it be easier to stop at a restaurant before going home? Or should I just buy something? Oh, look at that. They're selling dinner sets over there. I guess I'll get one of those. Oh, I don't know about that. Those seats are cheap, sure, but it's not very tasty. Oh, that's a shame. I guess I'll go to another... Oh boy, this guy. Mail? Why are you here? Wait, that voice I heard just now wasn't Mail's at all. I know who this man is. You're the witch. So, I'd like to ask you a little something. What did you do? The seed I planted just refused to sprout. It really should have by now. Did you dig it back up? Do you have some other ability outside of turning back time? Seed? What is he going on about? Instead of asking me, though, I remain quiet. Or instead of me asking. I'll get much more out of him if I just let him talk instead of asking any questions. Why won't you say anything? Ugh, how annoying. If I was dealing with anyone else, I'd just kill them. But that doesn't work with you. How truly vexing. But I still have my ways. The shadow surrounding the witch grows much denser. So much so, I think the shadow was his true body. Stay away. Must be scary. No amount of fighting prowess will do you any good against someone you can't touch. It is time to begin our ending. Imagine, if you would, your body sinking into the darkness. The cold creeps up your limbs and seeps into your hearts as you lose all sensation. There you are, cut off from the world. Despite knowing full well I'm doing the impossible, I throw out a punch with all the strength I can muster. I have to, or I'll give in to my fear. This punch, carrying all my might, is pathetically weak. Even if it had managed to hit the witch, it would have done him little to no harm. You're so weak to the power of suggestion. You really must try a little harder for me. I balk at making someone as amusing as you my puppet, but I suppose I have no choice. He breathes in between pursed lips and lowers his voice. You have given control of your body to me. You can move nary a finger, nor whisper any word. Can you see it now? Can you feel how a human like you meets their end? Uh-oh. This is another death. Mind stepping away from her? I'll have you know I was in the middle of hitting on her. Really, Crius? Really? Oh my god. Grand Commander. The very moment I see him, all my sensations return. He grins reassuringly at me before facing off with the witch. So you're the witch. You look like the court painter at the moment, but am I to assume this is the same magic that lets you parade around as Thomas? No one can touch him. Not even you could win in a fight against him, sir. And besides, it's me he's after. He won't go after you if you run, so leave. I'm not about to leave you here alone. What impeccable timing! The hero has come to save his heroine. Ugh, I'm all out of juice. I'm done dealing with the annoying stuff. So let's just finish this here, shall we? The witch smiles. It has none of the timid eccentricities of male's grin. The smirk is as sharp as ice and makes shivers run up my spine. Too late do I realize that I'm just another piece toppled over on this game board. No person could ever win against an opponent. It could simply end the game when he gets bored of it. And that's why I never anticipated that someone could overthrow the board completely. What? Oh, goddess. They're not the same! This is somebody else! What? The witch is intrinsically terrifying. My hatred becomes as flames that completely envelop my heart. But this monster is on an entirely new scale of terror. Could anyone detest the very concept of death? You may mourn the loss of your family to its grasp, but you can't keep up such negative emotions as hate to something you can't win against. That is what this monster represents. How do I hate something that paralyzes all my senses in its presence? How do I detest something that makes my blood run cold? What I wasn't expecting, though, was that this would apply to the witch as well. The witch's brows knit together when he takes in my fear. It's only then that he notices the monster behind him. Ugh. This is the worst! Today is the worst! I would have brought that fool if I'd known this would happen. The witch seems to know who this monster is, and then, without any sign of running away, he motionlessly allows the monster to pierce his chest. Ah! Blood spurts out from the wound, pointing to his heart being ruptured. The witch's black blood immediately stains the floor around him. His body convulses around the blade until he finally breathes his last. The monster picks the witch's body up and begins gorging itself on his flesh. The monster takes large bites, its jaws crunching easily through the bone. The feeding is done as suddenly as it's begun. Burp. Mr. Andy? That's his name? And he just burped. Sorry, you guys. I can't burp on demand. It only happens when I'm in the middle of like a romantic line, and then it just comes out. No, don't, come on, no. Okay, so hold on.
Oh crap. Okay, we gotta go back to this. So, but yeah.
The monster happily pats its stomach and moves sluggishly towards us. Its beady eyes look at us like we're its next meals.
Are those beady eyes? I don't know.
Grand Commander is the quickest to act. He immediately intuits that running is not an option and unsheathes his sword. Grand Commander. The sword and the monster's claws shriek against each other. The impact creates sparks around them, and even my 8 years of training wouldn't prepare me to get between them. The monster is well versed in human weaknesses as it aims for the Grand Commander's head, neck, and heart.
Okay. Alright, Burke came out. See, I told you, I can't do it on command.
The obvious nature of the monster's attacks means they're easy to dodge, but only the Grand Commander could make dodging look so easy as he increases the frequency of his own attacks. He even purposefully leaves himself open, luring the monster into attack and retaliating during that period. Grand Commander's blade finally strikes the beast. Amazing! To think someone could actually stand against that thing. As impressed as I am, though, I watch with a vague unease. Using an opening to lull your opponent into acting is a useful strategy, but it is also just as much a dangerous one. Is he not terrified? Does the thought of those claws digging into his flesh not bother him? I wonder if this comes from his experiences in battle. Would I be able to accomplish the same feats once I have the same years of experience behind me? No, I don't think I could ever do that. So why can he manage? What does he have that I don't? The monster comes to a sudden halt. Has it grown tired of this sudden exercise, or has he given up on trying to kill the Grand Commander? Either way, the monster slowly fades away into the darkness. Whew. Grand Commander, are you all right? Yeah, that was a hell of a monster. Do you know what that thing was? Not at all, but it was impressive that you were able to stand against it. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised myself. Not whether that was an out-of-body experience. Hey, Rislin, is that really me that did all that?
I don't know what to say. I need red flowers, red roses. Of course it was.
What are you asking? Of course it was you, sir. You've inspired me as a fellow knight. Let's see.
No! We're going back. We're going back. I don't care. Alright.
Can't answer him. I was impressed with his strength, yes, but I also feel fear there, deep inside of me. How many times have you saved my life? Certainly not so many that you need to ask like that. But it has been. You've saved me far more than I could ever count. Thank you for doing so this time, too. It's nothing. I'm just glad you're safe. Do you think that killed the witch? He certainly looked dead to me. I knew full well how terrifying that monster was, but never did I expect it to win against the witch. I'd call it a variety of witch for being able to touch a witch, but the rune said otherwise.
Genie's run, I don't even care. Whatever.
In any case, I now know that this monster counts as the witch's weak point. I can make them cross paths before anything happens. I can kill the witch without losing anyone else. The discovery of this breakthrough puts me truly at ease for what feels like the first time in forever.
She's gonna go back to the tavern incident, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. I'm thirsty.
You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna have like a whole love affair thing, and then she's gonna go back to change time, and then he's not gonna remember. And then BB10 will be like, yeah, all is right in the world again. I'll go buy you something. Nah, it's fine. I'll just go to some pub. I'd rather not head straight home just yet. The Grand Commander looks deathly pale, so I opt to accompany him out of worry. You mean that's all is right? I'll smack you. Welcome. Take a seat anywhere. I'm going to go wash up a bit. Mind finding some seats for us, Rizla? Will you be okay on your own? Don't worry about me. I'll be right back. I choose a seat in the back of the establishment. Once I make sure the Grand Commander is fine, I'll turn back time. I finally know how I can save Maya and Prince Lucian. I don't have to watch anyone else get hurt anymore. I can make it all go away. I guess this will erase all the time I spent with the Grand Commander, huh? Stop turning back time. I was apparently so deep in my thoughts that I never noticed the man sit next to me. I recognize this man, but I can't remember from where. It's as though a deep, dense fog surrounds those memories. Wait. What did he just say? Listen up and listen well. This is a 1 in 1,000 chance. If not a 1 in 10,000 one. You can't even predict what Endy will do, let alone hope to control it. And because the witch puts Endy at the top of his watch list, he'll lock himself up in his own world. Endy? That monster. Not even witches can hope to best that thing. It sits comfortably at the top of our ecosystem. Now, are you listening to me? This is your best ending. This will be your first and last happy ending. Don't ever go turning back time ever again. Who are you? Why do you know about that? Finding any of that out changes nothing for you. I'm nothing more than a bit more. And how am I to trust you when I don't even know who you are? Turn back time whenever I feel like it, thank you very much. And how exactly do you intend to meet the witch up with Endy? Can't exactly best either of them in combat. Well, I'll get the Grand Commander to help me. He can stand toe-to-toe with that monster. Not gonna work. That only happened because we're in this specific timeline. A few months ago, Cass would be dead before he even unsheathed his sword. Cass. He's calling the... Wait. Cass. So... He's calling the Grand Commanders by such a nickname. Must either be his friend or some family member. Oh, now I remember. There's Zen Sorfield. He's the man I tried to meet before the witch stepped in my way. Until this moment, I couldn't even remember who he was. The witch's suggestion still hangs over me, it seems. Zen looks at me with clear annoyance before standing up to walk away. Wait! Just who are you? At least tell me if I can trust you or not. How do you know any of my powers? You don't need to know anything. Not when we've reached the ending. Listen to me. Really, listen. No matter what may happen, you cannot turn back time. Those parting words, he leaves. Oh, shit. Now what do I do? The Grand Commander doesn't ever come back to his seat. I stand up to leave as well, assuming he went home after his condition worsened. Uh-oh. The following morning, his name is plastered throughout the city as a murderer on the run. What? A murderer on the run? What? Oh, for killing a male, I guess? No, he didn't kill him. Now, are you listening to me? This is your best ending. This will be your first and last happy ending. So don't ever go turning back time ever again. What, he's saying I can't cheat? No more cheatings? Did he just give me a warning? Night turns to dawn as I run through Zen's statements over and over again. I'm exhausted and want nothing more than rest. But I can't even bring myself to lie down. Don't turn back time, he says. Does he really expect me to listen? This world is built on the bloody backs of Maya and Prince Lucy. My entire mission is to overturn worlds like these. I found a way to defeat the witch. Onerous though it may be, my fatal rewind means I can try it as many times as I want. If it fails, I can just turn back time. As I try to encourage myself, the memories of my multiple deaths after Maya's murders come unbidden. That was rough. Hellish, even. I may not have had physical scars upon my revival, but the mental ones run deep. Had I continued that for much longer, my mind would have shattered. I'm so tired. Tired? Don't be ridiculous. I haven't accomplished anything. Things will never be over so long as Maya and Prince Lucian remain dead. I need to use the fatal rewind. I do need to die right now. Ugh!
Rislin, are you awake?
Mitchell, what's wrong?
It's the Grand Commander. He...
Calm down and tell me what happened. Mitchell, Rislin, you came! Where's Grand Commander Crius? We're all still looking for him. Rislin, I hear you were with him last night. The Inquisitors want to ask you some questions, so head off to the Grand Commander's office. Okay, I'll go now then.
Why? Why did this have to happen?
Five Inquisitors stand in the Grand Commander's office. The desk and shelves have been entirely overturned in their search for something. I was waiting for you, Miss Red. Inquisitor Lister looks away awkwardly. He's apparently still suffering from the blow of not realizing the witch had disguised himself as Thomas until the end of the trial. This is all the witch's fault anyway. I probably shouldn't ask him about it. I wasn't aware the Inquisitorial Order looked into standard incidents as well. Well, yeah. We'll poke our noses into a shoplifting case so long as someone comes complaining a witch did it. Mr. Tyrrell, that is not a complaint, but a confession. Why has a warrant been put out for Grand Commander Crius? Is there some decisive evidence pointing to him as a killer? He has the motive, of course, and the evidence, of course. A motive? There was evidence after all? Don't interrupt me again. I'm sorry, sir. Never again. Do you know who was killed in this case? The 7 Cardinals, in other words, my bosses. The Cardinals had gathered for a meeting late last night. It continued into the early hours, and they were all killed at roughly 2 in the morning. And it wasn't just them. The knights assigned to guard them have also been killed. Our culprit is a skilled one. You were witnessed with the suspect at the usual bar last night. Can you corroborate this? Yes, we were there at some time around 9 o'clock. The Grand Commander left for the lavatory to wash his face. I checked with an employee after 30 minutes of silence and found out the lavatory was empty. Did anything odd happen before he disappeared? I was assaulted by a suspicious individual. The Grand Commander just happened to be in the area at the time and saved me. I remove all reference to the witch and change the monster into a violent human. There's no point in discussing something so inexplicable with him now. It was a tough fight and left the Grand Commander exhausted. I assumed he left for home due to feeling ill. Or maybe his body was taken over by something. Because he did say, he's like, that wasn't me, I don't know what the hell happened. How was he able to save you? Well, through his mastery of swordplay. That's not what I'm asking. How was he even there? Only local residents ever use that road. But his own home is on higher ground. Well, maybe he had business with me. Did he tell you that? We have no idea what he was doing between the end of the Wings meeting at 6 p.m. and his run-in with you. Everyone else was under the impression he was working in his office. Wait, hold on! Did he... Is he using me as his alibi? Oh. Why does this just keep getting worse and worse?
Not a single person saw him go outside. He wasn't exactly under supervision, so there is the chance they simply missed him, of course. I can't say what he was doing either, but he often holds himself up in his office. He's been especially busy recently, too. Do you know why he's been busy? Huh? If you don't know, then forget I asked. What's this about a motive? What reason could he possibly have for killing the Cardinals? Tell me about this evidence. I'm not about to reveal sensitive info to someone outside this investigation. I know Inquisitor Lister won't break his silence on this. He refused to tell me anything the first time I discovered Maya's death, when I was still just an outsider. The Grand Commander would never kill someone. I have to prove his innocence. But to do that, I need even just one piece of info to work off of. What can I do to let me participate in this investigation? Oh boy. Oh boy. No, flattering him is not gonna work. Okay. I think I should just ask him outright. Because I don't think threatening him's gonna work either, because he'll just get pissed off. So we're gonna ask him outright. Tell me what you know. No. I have nothing to say to outside. Please. Why would I want to help the Grand Commander. This isn't your job. Please tell me. Ask all you want. Please! Nice. I think I can force my way through this. Let's keep this up going and go forward. I'll need to change how I ask my questions depending on the details, just like Grand Commander Crius would. Oh boy. What should I ask about? Oh my god! Well, it's good. Did I save? I did save. Okay. I Stop laughing! Look, if I don't get a kiss with Grand Commander Crius Castle Rock by the end of this stream, I'm rioting. Alright, what reason is there to suspect him? Let's try that one. Mr. Terrell, I do believe it's time for us to leave. Damn it, there's still so much I need to ask him. I can't be picky in my methods if I want to get the information out of him. Why is it always the threaten? Let's start crying. I can just roll this shit back. I don't care what Zen says. Fuck Zen. We're doing this.
Oh, anyway.
Sorry. Ha! I'm under no obligations to answer that. Guess that didn't work. Alright, so threatening it is. Zen doesn't know nothing. Wait, you should want me to roll it back. Because he said, if I roll back time, that I would not get a good ending. So you should want me to be rolling things back. Alright, so I think I need to just threaten him. I don't think flattering him. No, wait. Maybe flattering him is it. Remember when we first met him in the prologue? And we were like, I was like, oh, you're the greatest, Inquisitor ever? And he's like, oh yeah, I am. And he was like basking in his magnificence. His magnanimity. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Grand Commander Crius would often flatter people to get them to work for him. Let's see if I can't try the same thing. Inquisitor Lister, you're an incredibly talented individual. I can tell how capable you are from our conversations alone. Damn it, get out the way, Steam Store. Dang it, Coles, go away. I'm trying to read. Magnanimity. I'm never gonna be able to say it. Greatness. It's greatness. That's how it's pronounced. And you use these talents to pursue justice. You see to cases yourself despite them falling outside your jurisdiction simply because you want to see them solved. I'm in awe of your work ethic. We Wings must learn from your example. Would you allow me to assist in your investigation? I swear on my honor as a knight to keep silent on the details. Hey, don't think you can fool Master Terrell with your transparent... How many times must I tell you to shut up? Sorry, sir. Since you so highly revere the ground I walk on, I suppose I could give it some thoughts.
I've done no such thing and only just barely swallow my retort. Thank you. Let's keep this up going forward. I'll need to change how I ask my questions depending on the details, just like Grand Commander Crius would. What should I ask about? Alright, let's just... Oh... What reason is there to suspect him? Master Terrell, I do believe it's time for us to leave. Damn it, there's still so much I need to ask him. No, we're going back. We're going back. Come on. Maybe I need to just do it in order. Yeah, we're just gonna go back. Hey, it just lets us go back to the choice. Did Grand Commander Crius really have a motive? This is important. I doubt Inquisitor Lister will reveal this without some work, so I should make this my last question. What should I ask about? Oh, man. Are there any other suspects, maybe? I don't know. Are there any other suspects? Let me turn the questions back on you. Tell me what you've noticed at the current juncture. Talk about raising the bar. I don't even have all the information, but I can let this go. And I can't. Why is the thing over? But I can't let this go unanswered. 7 cardinals and their assigned guards were murdered. Even removing the cardinals from the equation, you'd need to be especially skilled to take out trained guards. There's one other piece of information I can use to help my theory. Time. Guessing time, maybe? The culprit must have been someone close to the cardinals. What makes you say that? The time of the crime. They were murdered at 2 in the morning, yes? Why were the cardinals gathered at the church so late? Some emergency must have called them to a sudden meeting. The only ones who would otherwise know of this gathering would be related to the church. Castle Rock is our only suspect, and we have a witness. Who? Hugo Spencer. Hugo? Why would Hugo be at the church? Because he's the son of a cardinal. According to his mother's testimony, he accompanied his father out of worry. The boy was found passed out near the cardinal's corpses. Based on his condition, it's highly likely he was poisoned. He'll be okay though, right? It's all up to him. If your training is anything to write home about, then he should have the endurance to see him through the worst of it. He'll be fine. I've seen how hard he's worked and all that have high hopes for his future. What should I ask about? Alright, so Hugo was passed out. I don't think it was Hugo that did it. I don't think that kid could kill 7 cardinals. I mean, if they were just birds, maybe. But then I'd be mad that he's killing burbs. What reason is there to suspect them? Alright, so I said, are there other... Let's see what evidence there is. He doesn't look to be in the best of moods. Butter him up. I mix various words of praise into my speech as I ask about the evidence pointing to the Grand Commander. You want to know so badly, I suppose I could tell you. One of his personal effects was found at the scene. The item in question is a gorgeous rust-red Garuda feather. I could never mistake it for anything else. It is a feather from the Grand Commander's own Garuda wand. This is the feather Crius Castle Rock wears on his person, is it not? I can confirm it is a feather from a Garuda by the name of Juan. I cannot, however, say for certain if it's the feather usually pinned to the Grand Commander's chest. Visitor Lister apparently anticipated my answer. The constabulary have taken this as irrefutable proof that he's the criminal, but I know you think it's possible, too. Someone as calculating as Cass wouldn't leave such an obvious arrow pointing to him. If this were the perfect crime, then maybe I'd doubt it. He'd doubt the Grand Commander only if it were a perfect crime? That's the kind of thing he could only say from a certain level of trust. What should I ask about?
Oh, no, you didn't. You did not.
Alright. What was the murder weapon? We're done talking here. Shit. Wait! I can't let him leave yet. There must be something I can use to grab his attention. I'll bring you some good mead if you tell me what the murder weapon was. Mead? Which brand? I know there's a specific mead he likes. What's it called again? It was, I think, Arcana, right? Arcana 20, I think. A longsword. The weapon was taken from the scene, but the wounds point definitely to it being a longsword. Longsword it was. Or was it? The Grand Commander used one when he fought off the monster, but that doesn't mean anything. It's a weapon familiar to many a knight. What should I ask about?
Oh, this was when you guys were chatting last night. Okay. Alright, so we already did what evidence points to the culprit, the murder weapon. I already said any other. What is his motive then? Did I do this one? I don't know. Hold on. I'm gonna put it here.
Did Grand Commander Crius really have a motive? This is important.
I doubt. Okay, so then this is it here. I didn't cheat. It just told me that not ask that. Yeah.
Mr. Terrell, I do believe it's time for us to leave. Damn it, there's still so much I need to ask him. I can't be picky in my methods if I want to get the information out of him. That last witch trial was a right mess. To think we were left so unguarded that a witch managed to sneak in with the sacrificia. Just a bit more. Aren't Inquisitors supposed to be specialized at dealing with witches? Did not a single one of you notice? Well, you see. Tell me why you suspect the Grand Commander. We cannot afford to repeat this mistake. And to do that, I am to give you information? We're utterly useless, so you may as well do this yourself. Is that what you're getting at?
Oh boy. Save. Oh, yeah, the right one. Yeah. Stop freaking out!
What an insolent woman! Apologize right this instant, or you'll find your body torn asunder! What? Mr. Terrell? You've got nerve. I'll grant you that much. Not bad. Not bad at all. He throws the stack of papers onto the table. He motions at them with his chin, as if urging me to pick them up, and I eventually do so, with no small amount of suspicion. This is heavy. There has to be more than 100 pages in here. Written within are detailed records concerning the wings of Garuda, from the founding principles to last decade's yearly budgets. There's information on our duties and even a problem-solving flowchart. There's even guidelines in here for how to interact with the royal family and those in the nobility. A bad feeling about this. Are these materials for passing on the position of Grand Commander? You think so too?
Oh, Nashu just jumped up. Alright, Nashu, lay down now. I can't see with you in the way.
No, lay down, Nashu. Come on.
Yeah. You good, Nashu. Alright, lay down.
You think so too? The beautifully flowing script is that of the Grand Commander's. The date on the document's initial draft matches the very day he was first promoted to the position. The man was grumbling on about how he doesn't deserve to be the Grand Commander. Is that because of his illness? So you knew about that, huh? He must trust you quite a bit to reveal his illness to you. But he has his medicine now. His illness is cured and he can take up his position with pride. I thought we'd close the book on that case, but it seems I was wrong. Look at the name of the chief executive on the last page. Aubrey Toynbee. But Toynbee only rose to the position yesterday. What that says to me is that even cured of his illness, he still intends to stand down as Grand Commander. Or step down.
Why is that flower in the way? It's covering up the words.
Allow me to summarize what your thought process is. You believe Grand Commander Crius created these documents, killed the 7 cardinals, and then went into hiding, correct? It all makes sense. Finding out whether or not it's actually what happened is my current goal. What should I ask about?
Oh boy.
From the looks of it, you still don't quite understand why Cass is a suspect in the first place. Given he opened up to you about his illness, I thought he may have even revealed the details of his past, but I suppose not.
Oh, we're getting to the good stuff now.
Sister Isabella. It's a long shot, but I say the young woman's name. When I mentioned her before, Hugo panicked, but the Grand Commander remained relatively composed. I thought that meant it had nothing to do with him. So you had heard about it. That's exactly it. The investigation team suspects the death of his older sister Isabella is at the root of his motive. I gave a great big sigh internally. So Isabella is his older sister. This makes the boy from my dreams the Grand Commander himself. But I have been given a glimpse of his past. Is this some new power of mine?
Oh, yeah. We did. We ended the stream together. Last night she had gotten the retrocognition power.
Which implied I earned some new power when I triumphed in the trial, but I wasn't sure what that meant at the time. Apparently, I've gained the power to see into the past. I suppose it's more accurate to say this is Rune's power. We'll have to discuss this with Rune the next time we meet. A young nun died 13 years ago. The scars of abuse that littered her body likely had a deep connection with her death. That the constabulary had labeled her death a suicide and put a lid on the case, probably at the behest of some big shots. That nun was Isabella, Cass's sister. Was she killed by a cardinal? Who knows? It happened a whole 13 years ago. We've no way of looking into it, but I think Cass managed to find out the truth. You remember his payments in mead to me, right? I was the one that started this arrangement. My plan was to use his sister's death as a starting point. But then he turned me down, saying it was all over. All over? Wouldn't that mean the Grand Commander has no reason to hate the Cardinals? That makes him his motive a much flimsier thing. If he was being honest with me, then sure. We've known each other for a while now, but I still can't figure that man out.
Oh, come on, Trevor! We're gonna get kissing today! At least I hope we did. We did get a reverse Cabedan, though, which was very hot, I do have to say. BB10 was bristling with embarrassment. I loved it.
The team on this case believes him to be acting on resentment for his sister's death, and so long as there aren't any other suspects, this will be pinned entirely on him. Do you believe he's the culprit as well? Inquisitor Lister says nothing. For a man who always wears his confidence proudly, just goes silent. And I can only assume he's yet to make his own decision. Thank you for telling me what's happened. I swear I'll repay this favor. I salute with as much gratitude as I can muster and walk toward the door. Once my hand is on the doorknob, the Inquisitor calls out from behind. Regarding the reason the Cardinals were gathered in the first place, they were arguing over whether or not a membrum is still among us. What? No, that may not have anything to do with this case at all. And one more thing. You're a miserable negotiator. I'd expect Cass's subordinate to be a bit more cunning in their methods. He saw through everything. I'm sure your friendship with Grand Commander Crius has motivated your investigation. Excuse me? Since when did our relationship turn to rainbows and butterflies, huh? Ugh! I got goosebumps at the thought. Ugh! Even after all the excuses, it still looks to me that Inquisitor Lister is conducting his own investigation. Were this not the case, you wouldn't have given me food for thought. I have to solve this case. Aha! My power to see the past. If this is now a genuine power of mine, I can use it. Please wait, Inquisitor!
Oh boy, she's gonna get herself burnt at the stake again, isn't she?
I borrow the Grand Commander's feather from Inquisitor Lister. There's much I don't yet know about my new power, but I feel having this feather will help me see what I need. Please, tell me what's happened to Grand Commander Crius.
Trevor lets me play these games because he knows they make me happy. And I appreciate that. Plus, I get to do a little voice acting for you guys.
This guilt I hold forever burns at my flesh, even as joy rises within. Sin will never be forgiven, but maybe with this, I can finally repent. I once again find myself dreaming. Is this Isabella's past, or is it the Grand Commander's? Might be neither. This murky, haunting emotion wasn't in either of their hearts. So whose past am I seeing now? How could you? Do you understand just what it is you've done here? Listen to me, Grand Commander. They deserve this punishment. They drove your sister to kill herself. Oh no, it was Hugo. Sister Isabella was such a sweet, kind person. She doted on me like I was her own brother. She would never take her own life. You suspected the Cardinals too, right? So I took it upon myself to give them an ultimatum. Either they let me tell the truth or I kill them. They told me everything. They weren't all involved, mind, but by turning a blind eye to their deeds, wouldn't you say they're just as guilty? I avenged Sister Isabella. I'm sure she smiles down on us now. No, Hugo! You were sweet little Hugo. Oh no. If revenge was really what Isabella wanted, then I truly am a no-good fool that can't understand people anymore. Huh? After hearing your conversation with Rizlin, I realized you must have gotten the wrong idea. But I left it alone, thinking it wasn't that big a deal. This is entirely my fault. I'm sorry, Hugo. What are you talking about? You've got nothing to apologize for, sir. These bastards are to blame. My own father. They forced themselves on Sister Isabella, even as she screamed.
Okay, they deserved it. I agree, Hugo. They deserved it.
And I knew about it. I saw her suffering with my own eyes, but I was powerless to save her. I'm just as guilty. I'm so sorry. I was going to kill myself once I was done. Once I killed these dogs, I'd drink the same poison Sister Isabella did.
This got really fucking dark. It just did.
Since you're here, kill me. You hate me, right? You can't forgive me for letting Sister Isabella die, can you? If I were to think about it critically, you were only 5 at the time. I doubt you truly understood what was happening, nor would any action you could have taken amounted to anything. Your father could easily suppress the truth. So I've never felt resentment toward you, nor felt like you committed some grave sin I couldn't forgive. How can you be so calm about this? You're just as much a victim as she was. If I'm a victim, then so are you. We both carry these scars in our hearts. No, I'll make this go away. Just leave it to me. What? Grand Commander all but drags Hugo from the church and plucks the bloody sword from his grip. You're free to choose what you want to do from here. You can return to your daily life or turn yourself into the constabulary. But if you're planning to turn yourself in, then go speak to your mother. Give her the final farewell she deserves. Hugo ignored the Grand Commander's orders. Instead, he sinks into the shadows and spies on the Grand Commander from afar. He takes the feather from his uniform and drops it in a pool of blood. He then sweeps over the room, erasing all evidence that could point to Hugo's involvement. He's trying to make himself look just as guilty so Hugo has the freedom to choose. What Hugo feels then is neither gratitude nor the weight of his sin. Instead, he feels hurt. Hurt that the Grand Commander didn't understand or justify his actions. When the Grand Commander leaves, Hugo drinks his poison.
Oh.
So this is the truth. Hugo lived his life on a tightrope. He carried the weight of his sin and his father's sins. As he stared into the fire below him, just managed to suffer through it.
Yeah, but he poisoned himself. Okay, that's right. His body. But I didn't know he was dead. I just found him passed out. They said he was passed out.
So maybe he isn't dead.
No, they didn't say he was dead. Alright, well maybe they did. But it's still sad, okay? You know what? Stop taking my... Yeah, passed out. Which means poisoned. He's probably dead now, though.
Without a shred of ill will, I cut the rope from under him. If I hadn't asked Hugo about Sister Isabella, this never would have happened. The magic fizzles away at Hugo's death.
See? He's dead.
I'm pulled back to reality with no clearer idea of what's happened to the Grand Commander.
Passed out could be so many things. Maybe he was there when it happened. Maybe they knocked him out. Not poison.
I ask everyone I can if they've seen him, but my efforts come to naught. The Grand Commander wouldn't let himself be spotted if he had a reason to be on the run. There must be a specific place he's hidden away in. I should probably look into his relationships and see if any of them are potentially sheltering the Grand Commander. The first two people that come to mind are Inquisitor Lister and Zen. They're both his friends, which means they're likely candidates. Assuming the Inquisitor isn't involved, then what about Zen? No, I don't think he's with Zen. If he were, Inquisitor Lister would have found him already. I can't think of anyone else the Grand Commander has regular contact with. Now what do I do? I don't know who this is. What are you doing standing out in the middle of the street? I know this voice. Oh, it's Landon. Landon! Hey! No time, no see! Do you have any idea how worried we were? You wouldn't even let us see you when we went to check up on you. I know, I'm sorry. I just had a lot on my mind. But I can't just lie around and mope when the Grand Commander's in trouble, you know? Landon, you're looking for him, right? I'll help. Well, thank you. I explained the basics of the current case to him. So you're looking for his friends, then? Yeah, do you have any ideas? Well, I have heard he's been seen leaving the Linzell residence. Ex-Grand Commander Kyle? Yep. It wasn't the most pleasant conversation, to be sure. I heard about that, too. Much, if not all, of that conversation was a lie. I know all that. The Grand Commander isn't that kind of guy. But it is true he's been showing up at the Linzell residence. Don't you think we should go check that out? Well, Landon's logic is sound. My stepmother felt any gratitude for the medicine. She may very well be sheltering the Grand Commander. What, you don't want to go? Can't afford to be selfish right now. I'll go with you. Thank you. That means a lot to me.
This is about to get all types of ugly.
Maybe I should try looking into the past again. If it doesn't work this time, then I'll go to the Linzell residence. Landon, do you mind waiting a bit?
Wait? Why are you closing your eyes like that? Don't tell me you're just gonna sleep here and now.
I'm trying to concentrate. Just give me a second. Where's the Grand Commander? Even the smallest hint will suffice. I'll take anything. I feel a crease forming between my brows as I hope and pray for an answer. But no matter how long I stand here, all I see is the back of my eyelids. No use, huh? There's something very clear I want to see. Yet just before the fog clears, I'm pulled away. It's as if I'm being denied this vision. Denied? But by who, though? Could it be by Grand Commander Crius himself? I open my eyes with a resigned sigh, and a searing pain rips through my abdomen. I look down. The handle of a knife juts out from my stomach. A bright red stain spreads across my clothes. Why did it have to be this way? Why did Maya have to die? What is going on?
No, what is happening in this game?
The killer hated you, right? So why are you here and alive when Maya's dead? I'm not at all surprised. I've suspected for some time now that Landon resents me for Maya's death. At first I figured you'd be suffering too. I mean, you and Maya were real close and all, but you acted like nothing happened, and even now got all cozy with the Grand Commander. Maya's dead because of you, and you don't even care. She won't be able to rest in peace like this. You need to be punished. Say something. Don't go quiet on me. You're right. Maya died because of me. Exactly. It's all your fault. This all happened because trash like you were friends with her. Even so, I want her to be with me. No matter how many times I have to do this. The feelings that had been resigned to smoldering within snap into a bright fire as the words slipped from my lips. That's all I want. Why am I so conflicted? Of the many roads I could take, the only one that truly matters is the one right in front of me. Nonsense are you spouting? You don't care what happens so long as you're happy with the outcome? You're the worst. I am. I'm greedy. I wanted to laugh alongside Maya, and I wanted to talk more with Prince Lucian. This path I've chosen will not be easy. I'll meet many more failures before I succeed, and find myself on the precipice of despair. What I want could only be found at the end of this road. This isn't my happy ending. What are you going on about? I've had enough of you trying to make a fool out of me. Just die already! Ugh! What? Grand Commander? The joy I feel at finally seeing him immediately vaporizes. The Grand Commander looks down at Landon, collapsed down at his feet with a chilly gaze. He then brings one of his legs back and swiftly kicks up into Landon's stomach. Sir! Please stop this, Grand Commander! Great Commander! What was I doing? Yeah, something's not right. Somebody is controlling him, for sure. Maybe it's the medicines. I don't know. The goddess, you're back to normal. Rislin. Stay with me, Rislin. Well, I guess this is it.
Not anymore. She's dying now.
You're like, how are you still alive? You promised me death. But before I go.
Oh no! Okay, we gotta save. Saving. We're saving. I don't care. Really? She loves him? Okay.
I love you.
No, we got load. Cheatings it is. I didn't realize she was gonna say she loves him, okay? I didn't like that, okay?
Something I'd like
Look, it has to be right. The time has to be right. And right there wasn't the right time.
There's something I'd like you to promise me, Rislin. I want you to forget I'm your superior for today. If you were honest and wanting to learn more about me, then please. So, what shall I call you today? Sir Castlerock? Just my first name, I think. Crius.
My time is right after I'm dead.
I can reverse failure, correct mistakes, erase any signs of defeat. The fatal rewind at my disposal, I am all but omnipotent, and yet I can't get things to work out. It takes all my energy just to win the trials. I don't want to lose anyone, but everyone's lives are crumbling all around me.
Maybe because you're messing with time so much, Rosalind. Are you thinking about that?
I'm trapped in quicksand. I can't change anything, can't save or protect anyone. The more I try to make people happy, the further entrenched I become in the cycle of suffering. This is all I have. My only choice is to die and attempt to do things over again. I lash out at myself under the guise of logic. It's how I've stood up again and again. Now I'm numb to it all, body and soul. The fatal rewind had been granted to someone wiser, stronger, more skilled. I'm sure they would have reached their happy ending by now. I'm sorry.
What?
Where am I? You're awake? Thank the goddess. I hear the Grand Commander's voice behind me, and I hurry to see him with my own eyes. Don't turn around.
Uh-oh. Close your eyes, BB-10. Close your eyes.
I took a rough fall just now, all covered in mud, you see. I don't want you seeing me like this. Why would that matter? Even covered in mud, you're still you. Man's pride takes a decade to heal, you know. Ugh. A dull pain runs up my side. My clothes are stained crimson. The blood has thankfully stopped, but it's clear I'm in desperate need of treatment.
Because, I thought she was going to turn around. He was going to be naked, okay? But clearly that didn't happen. He just got mud all over himself.
I'm sorry. I should have taken you to a hospital. But when I returned to my senses, I already had you out here in the woods. I guess I was trying to force a double suicide on you. I can't apologize enough. Commander. Want to try guessing what I really am? 1, a witch. 2, a membrum. 3, there is no guessing. You're simply you. The day of the ceremony, when the sky turned black, the witch showed himself to me. He said he'd give me power, so all I need do was let my desires guide me.
I knew he was being controlled.
I didn't have any desires to speak of. I was apparently a bit of a failure as a membrum. I was going to let my death end it all. My illness meant I wouldn't be serving as Grand Commander for very long. I planned to quit once the Order was on its feet economically. I didn't think I'd have any regrets. Then I saw you, broken and crying after Maya's death. I put off my own death for flimsier and flimsier reasons. I'll wait until after you're better. No, until after we talk more. Until after I thank you for working so hard. Until after I see your smile. I heard the witch's voice again, telling me I didn't have to lie to myself anymore. I was free, he said. Looking back, that was probably a spell of some kind. My heart felt so much lighter, and I was able to protect you from that monster. And from Landon, too. When I heard what the Grand Commander had to say, I finally understand that Zen had tried to tell me. Or what Zen had tried to tell me. If I want to defeat the witch, I'd need to bring him into contact with the monster. To do that, I thought I could use the Grand Commander's skills. I was naive. Without the witch's curse, the Grand Commander can't stand against the monster. It renders my plans meaningless. Thank you for stopping me, Rislin. Thanks to you, I managed to avoid killing Landon. Still, I probably did some lasting damage to his organs. I went too far. The moment you were stabbed, I was possessed by anger. I couldn't control my actions, nor do I particularly want to. Even now that I'm more composed, His hands shake almost imperceptibly. Whether it's from fear, anger, or even both is hard to discern. I turned into this after falling in love with you. The deeper I fell for you, the more I wanted to destroy everything else around you. People controlled by this kind of destructive impulse are exactly who you'd call a member. Before that happens, I need to disappear. Okay. Wait. There must be something we can do to dispel this magic. The switch is dead, sure, but there must be a hint somewhere. Passion in my argument can't warm a certain icy part of my heart. It will all disappear anyway. If I turn back time and do something different, I can prevent him from getting cursed. The man who said he loved me will disappear. This is the end. My powers can make it all go away. The sins and their punishments, the curse and the resulting tragedies. I mean, what a miraculous power. What a meaningless power. Erasing these problems does not lead to salvation. Don't worry, I won't be causing you any more trouble. I'll be dead soon. What? Did you not take your medicine? Grand Commander, I'm sorry, but I want you to know seeing how happy you were about the medicine really meant something to me. Can I turn around? No, I've long left the realm of humanity. According to the witch member that don't fulfill their role are punished with an unseemly form. I don't want you to see me like this. Back to the city. I'd take you there if I could, but I can't even take another step. Wait! Hold on. Is he Mr. Edgy? Is he a Mr. Edgy now? Please, hurry to the hospital. Sorry, sir. But that's one order I won't follow. Oh, okay, he's not edgy. Well, he actually kind of looks a little edgy. Ruslan, I refuse to accept this as my happy ending. No more compromises. I'll keep pushing forward. And won't yield even at the end. I'll do this as many times as it takes to get the ending I want. There you go again. I can't understand a thing you're saying. I can feel that passion of yours. Passion. Moments ago, I was convinced the fatal rewind was in the wrong hands. My spirit was so thoroughly shattered, I wanted to run away from it all. Saying this resolve to never give up is who I really am, then I'll work as hard as I can to have more confidence in myself, so that one day I can say I was glad I gained this power. It had to be me and no one else. I'm not sure what you're trying to do, but I want you to remember that I'll always have your back. Really? Think about it. Have I ever done wrong by you in these last 8 years? You said yourself your original plan was to send me back to the Linzel house. Is the reply you go for? I'm only kidding. I know you've always been on my side. You reached out to help me even before my first fatal rewind. You called yourself a no-good fool, but I know for a fact that couldn't be further from the truth. No one can perfectly understand how others feel. What's important is that you try to understand. That's what you've done. Always take that step forward to find common ground with people. These aren't the actions of a fool. You're a phenomenal man. This is the first time I've ever really felt like living. Am I in this ending you speak of? Of course you are. Make it something worth waiting for. Ruslan, don't push yourself too hard now. All I need is for you to be happy. Okay. Can you still hear me, Ruslan? Yes, I can. Prioritize yourself above all else. Your life is yours to live. Have a habit of carrying burdens you don't need to. Makes a guy worry.
I'll be fine. I've got your sly style of parlaying to help me through the worst of it.
I don't exactly remember teaching you any of that. Rosalind, I love you.
This is his good ending. How is this his good ending?
Oh. The Grand Commander disappears.
This was his final power as a Membrum. Until the very last moment, he only ever wished happiness for others. An icy loneliness takes over my soul. How many more times will I have to experience such isolation? I'm so terrified I shake, but I know this is my path to walk. No matter how often I return to a clean start, my heart retains all those memories. Grief, anguish, and love pile on top of each other like armor. If I go for long enough, not even the sharpest of swords would be able to pierce it. These experiences make me stronger. Aria of the Spider Lily.
All right. Well, this is definitely his good ending, because I know that's the name of his good ending. Shush, shush. We didn't get a kiss. I'm very disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed.
Welcome back. You should rest for a bit. I can boil a mean cup of tea. So, oh, I meant to tell you I figured out something real neat when you beat the witch in the carnival. Some of my powers came back. But don't get too complacent just because he gives them back on a loss. He's not so naive. He probably has to do that to hold a trial of that scale. That's some pretty serious magic, and you need a just as serious prince to make it work, or price to make it work. But by getting my magic back, I can lend you even more power. You'll be able to use skills outside of the Fatal Rewind, for example. Rosalind, what's wrong? Her heart's about to collapse, but I guess that makes sense. Been through so much pain. But if I just leave it like this, you'll really... I have to erase your memories. Never gave up. You were beaten down over and over again, but you never backed down. I wish I didn't have to erase those memories, but... You're about to go back in time, again. Everyone and everything else around you will be at a blank slate. It will hurt that much more if you're the only one that remembers anything. Once all my powers have returned, you should be able to win against the witch, so... I'm sorry. Okay, I'll be turning back time now. May this be our final encounter. Expecto Animus.